trial and error doing it over and over. And also there was at a certain I was going to school living in a house with my brother, and then at a certain point I invited another artist to come live with me also. His name was Andy Lee, and he was a Chinese painter. And so we shared the same studio space of him, him using his brush and ink and his approach to things. And we learned quite a bit from each other.
Maliit yung pan niya.
Go for Mack.
Punisher!
So you've always been a bit famous for your biceps. How did that come about?
I carry these really heavy books all over the world. And when I came here, I was able to take, I was only able to bring the books and artwork and things with me that I could carry here. So I was able to bring 70 pounds each in check-in, and then they don't weigh the carry-on. So I stuffed that even more, just trying to make it look light. But it's what I found in retrospect, over looking at the last 20 years of working in particular, is early on there was a lot of trial and error about the discipline involved in being able to focus and put yourself into the best headspace to be at your optimum game all the time. When people talk about like staying up all night to get work done, you don't really want to do that a whole lot, because whenever you're making something, you want to be at your A game when you're making it. You don't want to be making stuff when you're not at full capacity. So what I've learned over time is that between what you eat, what your sleep schedule is, your environment, and exercise, I really have to create a kind of discipline and cycle to keep my head focused in order to get the best work from me as possible. So, I have to, and also that changes from different points. Like when I'm lettering a book, or when I'm writing a book, or when I'm drawing it, or when I'm painting it, I adopt a different eating and sleep schedule and workout schedule for each of those things. So for me, like exercise is part of the process. What I'll do is I'll wake up, I'll get right to work, I'll do as much as possible for like the next 4 hours. I'll eat like at least every 4 hours, because I never want to be waning, but I never want to eat small meals every 4 hours. I don't want to overeat and then get sleepy, but I can't, if I don't eat enough, I won't have the right amount of energy. So I try to stay as even as possible for that. And then after eating, I'll take care of the emails and stuff, and I'll go for a walk or do some exercise. And then if you're sitting down to work so much, I have to get a certain amount of exercise out of my system in order just to be able to sit still and focus on something. I just have a certain amount of primate energy in me that I just have to exhaust before I can get my head just focused on things. So exercise, and the right sleeping and diet has always been a part of the working process for me.
Some people might not know, but I hear you're also quite a martial artist. Maybe you can tell us a bit of your history of martial arts. That's been a part of the exercise for me also. When I was in college, they had a intramural martial art karate program when I was in college, and so I was only 17 when I started it, but I was able to compete and win against a lot of other older opponents in it. So I managed to get first place my freshman year in the college karate tournament. But it's not something, at a certain point I realized that the people who do that kind of thing all the time are the people who are good at it. And I could keep exercising, but I didn't really emphasize that kind of thing, because I had to make a choice that I was going to spend so much time doing this to get good at this. And when you're doing something where you're risking hurting yourself or others, it's something that you have to practice with all the time in order to be at any kind of confidence level. So I'm a dabbler. I have like other friends who are instructors and things, and then I will like friend who's a kung fu instructor, and I would just participate in his class as a friend, and another friend who was a jiu-jitsu instructor, and so I would just participate in his class to not try to call too much attention to myself or anything, but just try to do it for exercise or to learn some things. But let me say this: I did have this experience, like when I was learning karate in college, that I had this experience of it's something that was applicable to art. That I would have this feeling of like learning something and learning something and learning something until all of a sudden it feels like you climbed on a mountain and you felt like you learned what you're trying to learn. But now that you're on the mountain, you can actually see. You have a new point of view where actually you can actually see all the other mountains ahead of you that you didn't know were there. And now you have like this extra viewpoint of like, oh, now I start to know what I don't know. You have those moments a lot with art in the same way. And I felt like artwork was a lot like, my approach to artwork was a lot like martial arts. And I felt like if you practice it in the right way, it's applicable to all things and it's useful at all times. And learning martial arts kind of compared to how I felt artwork was, in that sense of you have a certain naivete at first, and then when you know something else, it shows you how ignorant you are about so many other things, and it constantly it cultivates a sense of humility in you, because you learn all of the things that you're not good at over and over. And that's how I feel about writing and drawing too. The more you do, the more ideas come to you that you realize there are all these other things that you need to work at and do. And there's this thing about learning. This applies to art or probably anything else. There's this idea of the first step is unconscious incompetence. And then when you practice enough, maybe 5 years, 10 years, you reach another step, and that's conscious incompetence. You just realize all the stuff you don't know. And then when you practice another 5 or 10 years, then you learn conscious competence. But then at the highest stage, if you keep practicing, you can maybe get unconscious competence. And that's where you want to be.
Since you're both a writer and an artist, if you could choose just one, what would you prefer?
Well, if I was doing comics, if it was limited to comics and I could only do one, I would definitely just be a writer, because then I get to write something. My experience when I'm writing is I write something and then somebody else brings it to life and does all the hard work, and you're surprised by the finished project, the product of what somebody else brought to it. I love that collaborative effort in comics. So if I'm collaborating in comics, I actually prefer being a writer collaborating with somebody else, bringing the image to life. But that said, just in terms of painting and drawing, I really do love doing that also, just making images, even if they're not a part of the story.
If you could do a dream collaboration with anyone in comics, who would it be with?
I've been fortunate to work with so many amazing, talented people, like Ben